Hi guys. Do you know that introducing oneself is the hardest thing that you can ever kind of face? Probably you're in an event somewhere, you are in an office, you want to introduce someone new to the strangers. Somehow quite challenging, right? And talking about introducing yourself, today's session basically I want us to talk about your CV. Yes, you've heard me correct. I want to talk about your CV. Do you really need to tailor made your CV for every role that you're applying? I know this is a question that majority of us have always been asking ourselves, and today I want us to have a very candid conversation about if it is really necessary for you to tailor-made your CV for every job role that you're applying. I know today you're wondering, this is not a darasa today, right? Mwalimu basically is a practicing accountant, and also I'm a tax consultant. That's why you're seeing early day associates there about. We practice this element. As much as we normally tend to teach you guys, we also do practice, right? You can always reach us in the event that maybe you need services more so when it comes to taxation. Personally, I've specialized in tax in the firm, early day and associates, and we can always assist you where you need an assistance when it comes to tax, or talk about aspect to do with bookkeeping, accounting setup, and basically general financial advisory. So today I'll want us to talk about how will you present yourself. That is while you're applying for any job. You'll find that in a world where the focus of technology appears to be on making the process of applying for a job as swift and easy as possible, because today you can take that phone of yours, you can apply for as many jobs within a very short period of time. But this is what I want to give you guys. Job seekers can be forgiven for thinking that this means applying for as many jobs as possible in the least amount of time may be the best route to success. That is a lie. Applying for as many jobs as possible within a very short period of time, at times it can be misleading. You'll find that this often at the expense of the application itself, where one generic CV is used for every application, which is not right, by the way. The scattergun approach often leads to frustration when having applied for hundreds of roles, right? And there are few, probably, if at all, you won't be having any form of interview. This is simply because the way you normally tend to design your CV. As much as technology is there which will assist you to maybe fasten and send as many CV as possible, but there's always a term which you normally term it as a scattergun, right? You'll find that at any given point in time, as much as even if you know probably exactly which type of jobs you are targeting, you should not rely on just one version of CV to work effectively. Try out a little test. Find 3 job descriptions online, which ideally they can be found anywhere, that best fit your target roles. For example, maybe trying to search financial controller job description, right? This you'll find that it will guide you, or rather it will give us some of the roles of a financial controller. Try to read each job description carefully. You'll no doubt see lots of differences between them, right? How then can you expect one version of your CV to work effectively in an aligning to the requirements of each? Simply because you'll find that each and every job will always require different roles. It's not like, say for example, allow me to use these companies. Maybe you want to apply a job in early and associates. Maybe you've advertised for financial controller job, right? You want to apply job, say for example, in a PwC, the same position, financial controller. You realize that these roles are quite different. As much as it is the same position, but you realize that the roles are quite different. So I'll advise you guys that at any given point, whenever you are applying for your CV, basically, or rather whenever you're applying for these jobs, always try to make sure that whatever that basically you are applying for, make sure that you've kind of tailor-made your CV to fit that application that you are applying. So no two jobs are exactly the same. That is what Mwalimu is trying to say. The other key element that probably for those, I know right now guys are taking a lot of notes, right? So maybe the other key focus area that you can talk about is aspect to do with you spending more time on fewer applications. At times, it normally tend to bear fruit. Spend more time on fewer applications. At times, it will always tend to bear fruit. That's what Mwalimu is saying. You'll find that in my in my experience, basically, you'll find that I speak to many job seekers. Often they are frustrated that their CV is yielding little success. In discussing how to improve that, you'll find that their CVs, very often the answer does not lie basically in the CV itself. Why? But in how it is being used. You'll wonder, how are we using the CV? While we may provide valuable tips and advice in getting the CV up to scratch, you'll find that the CV then needs to be tailored for each and every application, where there are two parts of a successful job application strategy. The first one is to create a conscious, focused, and professional looking and demonstrates your expertise. I believe you've heard me that correctly. We're saying that at any given point, you'll be having two strategies of you preparing your CV, okay? The first one, create a conscious, focused, and professional looking CV that demonstrates your expertise. That is very important. Second, tailor the CV for each application. Tailor your CV for each application. These are two good strategies that you'll always find that they'll open doors for you. Doors that you've never imagined you can ever find. Because you might send your CV. I know, I understand that frustration. You might send your CVs in so many organizations, but as at the end of the day, none will knock your door. Even at times, you might even not get a regret. You know, like at times it's better getting a regret than none, right? It will be like, these guys, they just saw my CV, probably it was kind of a mess. They were even kind of, they didn't even feel like if I get a regret, at least I'll be having that component of a bit of satisfaction that, yeah, at least I've been recognized, right? So guys, kindly try to improve on how you are making your CVs. Then probably the third bit that I'll also want to share with you, tailor a CV is not probably kind of a very hard task that maybe you might, the way it might seem. It may be a kind of a daunting prospect to think that a CV needs basically to be tailored for every job. But tailoring a CV is not as challenging as might first appear. Why? You'll find that if you are in the process of updating your CV and not applying for a specific job, right? You are really aiming for a CV to be 90% there. The main sections that will need changing are the, number one, professional profile and key skill sections. These often at times, they'll always need you to kind of adjust them frequently. That is, of course, the area to do with your professional profile and key skills sections. You'll find that the profile needs to be aligned to be kind of, to have, how can I term it? It should be aligned to kind of demonstrate who you really are. These are basically talk about your personal qualities of the role. How can you best do that job compared to other applicants? Then, in this case, you'll also have to adapt the key skills to those in the job description and person specification. They need a financial controller. They need an accountant. They need probably an accounts receivable. So you'll find that let your skills fit exactly what the company needs, right? Take a little time that you can. Prepare your CV so that it can reflect probably what this company needs. And nowadays, with the advancement of technology, we no longer use the traditional ways that people are using, HR or using the probably previously. Nowadays, there's always a system which will always tend to filter some of the keywords that have been described on the CV. You'll find that these systems will always tend to filter. Say, for example, maybe they have there's that job application whereby they say that they need a person, number one, who has 5 years experience. This person should be registered with ISPAC, for example. And the same person should be having a knowledge in QuickBooks. And these are keywords that we are talking about. So at any given point, whenever you send your CV, and probably number one, you don't have 5 years experience. Number two, probably you're not registered with ISPAC. As much as you'll be having QuickBooks, you'll find that the system will automatically kick you out, and in that case, not even go to the other stage, because you'll find that using AI, artificial intelligence, and robotics concept in these HR systems, they'll always tend to filter out people so quickly. And that's why situations you'll find that maybe we have more than 1,000 people who have applied for a certain job. Out of this 1,000, probably out of 1,000, we'll find that only 100 are the guys who are going to be selected, because they kind of tried to make sure that their CV fit probably key terms on what the job application has entailed. So you'll find that many a times these are key areas that you'll always be required to make sure that they are updated. This will help the CV to get through the ATS systems. We normally term them as the ATS systems, whereby you'll find that if you're applying for similar type, if you're applying for probably a similar type roles, the rest of the CV should not be wholesale changes. You not do wholesale changes, right? I know you're wondering, Mwalimu, now what are these wholesale changes? What about retail changes? Do you have retail changes? I know you might be asking yourself that, right? But basically, if at all you change these few areas, you'll find that you won't be required to have the wholesale changes in your CV. Excuse. So basically, these are some of the key areas that you'll always tend to kind of make sure that your CV is tailor-made to reflect. Then the other key area question probably that you can ask yourself is, how much do you want that job? That can also be a motivation. Yeah, a very important question that you should ask yourself. How much do you want that job? If tailoring CV still seems like a lot of hassle, it is worth asking yourself just how much do you want the job you're applying for. If you are genuinely excited when reading about a new role, then surely it is worth doing everything you can to give yourself the best chance of securing an interview. That is, of course, I really need to get a job in KRA. There's an application, or rather there's a job, there's a vacant position that I have advertised, and I just need to get this job. You'll find that I'll always tend to do anything that I can to make sure that my CV has clearly reflected what the employer wants. Believe that up to that point you are all together, right? Being in a job you enjoy and can thrive in is very crucial, right? Tailoring your CV is an important step that can help get you into a job that improves both your material and mental well-being. So at this point, guys, anytime you want to apply for a job, first thing that you've agreed that, number one, make sure that professional profile and key skills have been updated to match the job that you are applying for. The other key area, make sure that your skills will match what the employer wants, so that you can always pass this ATS test. So that was a very I wanted us to have that conversation, as much as it was a very short clip, but I believe it has kind of opened your mind clearly. And always, whenever you're applying for that job, the big question will always be, guys, how much do you really need that job? To that point, for more tips, of course, we'll be having more of this conversation. And in the event that you really need an assistance when it comes to CV development, I'll always try to make time for you guys and assist you on how you can always tend to prepare your CV to match the job that you are applying for. Taking advantage of technology, taking advantage of the experience that Mwalimu has, I'll always tend to guide you. And remember, like, for those guys who normally, also for those guys who have taxation issues with KRA, of course, you can always reach us out. You can always reach us out, and we'll always tend to assist you guys. We have a very proficient team, which will enable and make sure that your business also is kind of well set, and you won't be having any issues with the authorities. To this point, guys, thank you so much, and let us meet in the next session, whereby I'll be guiding you guys on more tips on how to survive in this cruel environment, right? You guys have a nice time. See you. Bye.